Hi, my name is Carissa Laffey, and today I'm going to be showing you an activity that will utilize the coastal prairie on the Bolivar Habitat Preserve. Landscapes in Oil and Water is an activity that's designed for grades 3rd through 5th grade, and it's best done during the summer months. For Landscapes in Oil and Water, you will need a watercolor palette for each student, one sheet of watercolor paper taped to particle board for each student, a set of 12 or 24 count of oil pastels for each student, and one small cup for each student to fill with water. Find a spot outside where you're comfortable and you can see really far into the coastal prairie habitat. A prairie, by definition, is a broad tract of level grassland. Take your students out to the coastal prairie on the Bolivar Habitat Preserve. Notice how horizontal the landscape appears. This is a great opportunity to study the relationship between the sky and the earth. Whenever you are making a painting that incorporates both sky and earth, you're going to see how the appearance of the sky is affecting the appearance of the grasslands below. Wet the top half of your watercolor paper that has been taped to particle board. Now, use your watercolor brush to pick out the color of the sky and add it on top of the water. Notice how my colors are bleeding into all the places that I've put the water first. Allow it time to bleed. And then, in order to make some cirrus clouds, position your board so that it's flat near your face and blow. And that's how you can make some wispy clouds in your sky. If it's cumulus clouds that you want to achieve, or ones that have flat bottoms and puffy tops, what you want to do is also wet your sky. Place your sky color on top of the water and let it bleed. And while your paint is still wet, take a paper towel and blot it over the wet paint. Sometimes you might have to add just a little bit of water to your paper towel. Now you have some beautiful cumulus clouds in your sky. Once your sky is painted, you can begin to work on the landscape with oil pastels. You have so many possibilities with your oil pastels, but one of the most important things that you can do is use your fingers to blend different colors together. You can create a variety of texture and tones with your blending with your fingers. Make sure that you are using your colors and drawing horizontal bands across your landscape. Notice how sometimes the clouds will cast shadows across the landscape, and where those shadows are, you can use your darker colors. And where the sun is shining, you can use your lighter colors. Oil pastels are not like traditional crowns, so you really can add layers of these colors on top of one another, and remember to use your fingers to blend. Now that I've kind of gotten my basic colors, I can start to add in the details of my plants. And on my prairie today, I have a lot of yellow flowers, so I'm gonna add those in on top. Your prairie will no doubt have a horizontal format, but keep in mind that it's the relationship and activity between the earth and the sky that sets the tone and piques the viewer's interest. The sky's condition determines how bright or how many gray foliage you see below. Alright, now you have a finished composition. Your students will learn how to identify the different types of cloud formations. Some of your students might find it challenging to paint clouds. Remind your students that not all clouds look like puffy white cotton balls. The more unique that their cloud looks, the more realistic it will look. Some of your students also might be put off by having fingers that are covered in oil pastels. Remind your students that their fingers are the best tools that they can use when using oil pastels. It's a great way to have smooth transitions between different colors and blending. Landscapes in oil and water can be adapted for younger or older students. For younger students, you can have them use just one artistic medium, like watercolor or just oil pastel. For older students, you can have them do 2 landscape paintings where they have different types of clouds on each one. To close the lesson, ask your students about the relationship between the sky and the prairie in their paintings. Ask them how their paintings would differ if they painted the prairie on a sunny day versus a cloudy day. As an extension activity, you can have your students make a cloud formation guide. Start by dividing a piece of watercolor paper into 4 sections and paint a different type of cloud formation in each of the 4 boxes. These types are cumulus, stratus, cirrus, and cumulonimbus clouds. Then you can have your students laminate their cloud formation guides and take them outside so they can identify the different types of clouds.